Automatonophobia, the fear of things that look human but don't talk or move. Not today! What up, nerds? My name is Leslie Smith. Welcome to the Nerdy Narrative. Today I'm going to be sharing with you my thoughts and opinions regarding my experience reading Night of the Mannequins by Stephen Graham Jones. This novella was published in September of 2020 by Tor.com. In addition to winning the Shirley Jackson Award for Novella in 2020, it also won the Bram Stoker Award for Best Long Fiction. Two very prestigious awards. Let's talk about if it earned them. Night of the Mannequins is a contemporary horror novella that can be summed up in two words: teen angst. All of the main characters in this story are teenagers, so I'm going to classify it as YA contemporary horror, but just listen to this first line. So Shayna got a new job at the movie theater. We thought we'd play a fun prank on her, and now most of us are dead, and I'm really starting to feel kind of guilty about it all. If that does not rank up there with a killer first line, I don't know what will. So what is Night of the Mannequins about? It's about a group of 5 teenagers who have been friends since childhood, and they do what teenagers do. They play pranks on each other. As the first line tells us, one of them, Shayna, got a new job at a movie theater. And what's funny is the reason why she got that job is the result of another prank that this group pulled. But we get into all of that later as you read through the story. So this prank in the movie theater involves a mannequin that the kids had found submerged in a river a few summers prior. This mannequin named Manny, I know, original, right? Manny was the source of so many pranks throughout the neighborhood on their elderly neighbors, just between each other. And then after that one particular summer that they found him, Manny is relegated to the garage of Sawyer, our narrator, where he's just left and forgotten about until he becomes the key player in this prank that they're playing on their friend Shayna. You can probably guess what the prank is. I mean, it's a mannequin, a movie theater. You can put 2 and 2 together. The problem is the prank does not go according to plan. It ends with 2 things happening. One of the kids gets busted for being in the theater when they had already been kicked out once for trying to sneak in. And 2, Manny gets up and walks out at the end. And that is what sets the rest of the story in motion. The observations, the flashbacks of growing up all come to us from Sawyer's perspective. Sawyer is a teenager, meaning he is reasoning through what he is seeing with his teenage mind. At times, his imagination, his logic was cracking me up. And then at other times, it was properly creepy because I kept thinking in my mind and remembering I have a mannequin myself, and that thing has scared the stuffing out of me on several times. You know how it is. You redecorate, you change things around, you forget that you moved a life-size mannequin, and then all of a sudden you're like walking around a corner and boom, there's this life-size figure standing there. So that lent an extra element of thrill to the story for me. And the thing about an unreliable narrator in a horror story is you never know what to believe. Do you accept what their logic, their reasoning is telling you? You know clearly they have an overactive imagination, but there are just things that just don't quite add up. It's a delightful story. It's very fun. You can read it in a day. If you're a fan of Stephen Graham Jones and you haven't read this one yet, I highly encourage you. He's just one of those authors that might write about a familiar trope, but it never ever ends or turns out in the direction that you think it's going to. No matter how many times Stephen Graham Jones writes a slasher, I'm never able to figure out how it's going to end. I enjoyed every moment that I spent with the story. The kids were so relatable. They were so familiar to me because most of them reminded me of one of my friends growing up. A lot of the things that they did Reminded me of things that I did as a teenager, and it just really hit me with some nostalgia in the best of ways. Other readers seem to agree. I looked it up on Goodreads. It has over 10,000 ratings, and the average star rating that those readers gave it was a 3.57, which in my opinion, that's a good book. I've spent more time being tickled at what was happening than being scared. Even though I know how it ends, I will absolutely reread this story again. Guys, have you read Night of the Mannequins by Stephen Graham Jones? Hit me up in the comments down below. What did you think about it? Did you love it? Is it your favorite of Stephen Graham Jones? If you haven't read it, do you think you might be interested in reading it now? Let me know if you do, because I would love to talk to you about the ending and how you thought about the story's progression, and if you were able to predict any of the things that happen. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a fantastic rest of your day, and I will see you in the next one.